Welcome to the MPFFU podcast. The intent and purpose of the MPFFU podcast is to support the mission to improve wages, working hours, and working conditions for its members. This podcast will disseminate evidence-based relevant information, resources, and strategies. To accomplish this, the MPFFU podcast will provide reliable, factual, and actionable information that strengthens, empowers, and supports the MPFFU members and locals through united action. Now our host, Jeff Lassers.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the MPFFU podcast. My name is Jeff Lassers and I have been a professional firefighter and member of the MPFFU since 2004. I also serve on the MPFFU's Union Education Committee. We've taken a short break, but now we're back with a lineup of excellent content designed to inform, educate, and empower the MPFFU membership. In this episode, we'll provide an overview of the MPFFU's achievements in 2023. Plus, we'll discuss what our members can expect from their state union in 2024. You will hear from key MPFFU leaders, including Matt Sahr, our president, Mickey Wiewiura, the co-chair of the Union Education Committee and the Eastern Trustee, Scott Korycki, the Recruitment and Retention Committee chair, Scott Bala, the Political Education Committee chair and the 6th District VP, Larry Gambotto, the chair of the Safety and Health Committee, Mike Mattern, the chair of the Behavioral Health Committee, Monty Nye, the EMS Committee chair, and an update from Stacey Breitlow from the Muscular Dystrophy Association. This episode is packed with insights that break down the MPFFU's achievements in 2023 and what members can look forward to in 2024. For your convenience, we have included timestamps for each section in the episode description and have also segmented the content into chapters in the YouTube video. On a final note, the MPFFU convention is on the horizon, set to take place from April 29th through May 1st, 2024 at the Park Place Hotel in Traverse City. Members interested in attending should reach out to their local executive board for more details. Please send your feedback to mpffupodcast@gmail.com and share your thoughts about the show or ideas for future episodes. Follow the MPFFU on Instagram at m.p.f.f.u. And lastly, please subscribe to, like, and share all of our content on the Michigan Professional Firefighters Union YouTube channel. Thank you and enjoy the show. Good afternoon, Matt Sahr. How are you?
Good.
Good. Well, thanks for joining me all the way out here in Mount Clemens. Beautiful old firehouse. Very well maintained. If you like the old school firehouses, you should really come check this out.
They do a great job, and we appreciate them allowing us to come in here. They have a new chief, Reynolds, that is allowing us to come in here and do this, and we can't thank it enough. It's a good relationship we've had with the local and their administration for years, so it's been great.
Yeah, man. So, Matt, everybody knows why we're here today. We're going to talk about, what was 2023 for the Michigan Professional Firefighters Union. What did we set out to do? What did we accomplish? And then 2024, what can we expect? And in this episode, every single one of our committee chairs will get a chance to speak. But as the president, 2023, what did we set out to do as a union, and what did we accomplish?
Our goal going forward is obviously to give the information back to our members and make sure that we're working for our members. And how we did that is obviously with our communication and education. And it doesn't just mean our education seminars, which we brought those back last year, and it was a huge success. I think everybody that was there enjoyed it. We heard from the MPFFU legal counsel, Michael O'Haron, who did a fantastic job communicating with us. And through what he was doing there was educating our members. You look at what he was talking about, what to expect when you're going into negotiations and what the trends are that he was seeing. And then you saw that translated from contract after contract after contract that came out. And it was a good year across our MPFFU. Very few of our locals were met with a lot of resistance. And the ones that are doing it the right way. They're holding the employer's feet to the fire. They're not just saying, hey, we're going to take what you give us. We're going to take what we believe that we deserve. And we have the evidence to back that up. So, kudos to our locals that are hearing us. And they're out there doing a great job. So what I'm seeing for the MPFFU in 2023 was the education that turns into the communication and disseminating that information out. And I believe that we're hitting that mark. We're trying to not overload you with emails and podcasts and videos.
And it could be hard, right? Because there's a lot to talk about.
There's a ton.
It's not the only thing in everybody's life, but when you're so wrapped up in it, it can feel like everybody needs to know this. And between like you said, you get a bunch of emails, and when I get around to reading, I'm like, oh, this is really important information. You really saw a huge ramp up in high quality information. And I think towards the end, we're really figuring out how to be really efficient with it. Yeah,
I could not agree more. That's a struggle that Terry and I have is like, well, how many emails are we going to send? Because we know that ultimately our members are reading them emails. We'd like to believe that more of them are actually reading the emails, but it's much like your own personal emails that come in. You get a ton of these emails that start rolling in, and what happens? You skim it, delete it, or you go, oh, I know what that one's about, and maybe not even open it. So we have to make sure that we're picking and choosing when we're getting these emails out to our members. Also utilizing the things that are in line with what 2023 is in the future of 2024, which is obviously our social media, using the podcast, using videos to communicate with our members. And we talk about the education committee, and it comes down to one of the things that I'm most proud of that we were able to develop and get it done, and it was a total team effort across the board, was our MPFFU legislative book. Very similar to what the International has. Obviously, it's not as big, but this is going to be a working document for the future of our organization. We put in our goals in this book, and now they're in writing. There's something that we can drop off to the legislator. Yeah. And when we get something passed, we're going to keep it in the book because we have to remind the politicians and our members, quite frankly, of why we got it, when we got it, and why it was so important to our members. And that rolls us right into the next issue, that is 4688. There was a resolution passed at the last convention that said, hey, we want to see staffing as part of the mandatory subjects of bargaining. Now we got this bill introduced, HODSMA, and then that was a grind once it got into committee. And then once it got into committee, we were like, how do we get it out of committee? Because the committee has to vote to move it out. And we were able to accomplish that, working with the Speaker of the House, which is Joe Tate, who is a friend of the MPFFU, and working with the governor's office and convincing them that this is a good thing for firefighters, and talking about staffing, not only for our safety, but obviously the resident safety. And that resonated with them, and we're going to continue to push on that. But that's just one issue. We're continuing to push Senate Bill 249. Was that important? I'm sure you're going to hear about Monty talking about it. That passed out of the Senate. That was a bipartisan thing that came out, and now we're waiting for it in the House, and we believe that's going to be bipartisan. I mean, every day I'm meeting with legislators, especially here starting in January, these last 2 weeks, every day, 4, 5, 6, 10 meetings a day, and nobody is saying, hey, this isn't a bipartisan issue. They're all saying, yeah, we like that idea. We understand there's a shortage. Let's get this done. So we're looking forward to getting that done in 2024, and I think we're on a good start there.
So in 2023, you really hit the ground running with a high degree of communication information. There was a huge ramp up, not only digitally with the podcast and the social media, but also, like you said, we had the education seminar, and there was the orientation that was a huge hit with tons of people showing up. Yeah. So it was really a big drawing in year.
Yep.
Now here comes 2024. So here's the thing. We got elections.
Yep.
We got lots of politicians. We might have aliens.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about the border.
Yeah.
There's a lot coming up here, right? And so my point is, how are we carrying the momentum into 2024, and what can we expect?
Just 2024 is an election year. The House is going to be up for election. So the Michigan House is up, and how are we going to navigate that? We're going to navigate it the same way we always have. We're going to support those that support us regardless of party. They're going to fill out a questionnaire. They're going to answer the hard questions. And if they don't answer those questions, regardless of their history, they're not going to get our support. And we're going to stick with our friends. We've been doing this for years. We've been drawing the line in the sand saying, hey, we're going to support those that support us. I just believe we need to be more vocal about it. And that's where our social media is going to come into play, using our Instagram account, using our Facebook, using our communication with our members, our podcast, saying, hey, these are the politicians that support us. And I could go through and name 20 that are huge supporters of us and that are saying, hey, they're here for us. I mean, you can start with Angela Whitwer from Appropriations, Senator Hertel. These are people that are true to what they do, but they're not the only ones. So in 2024, with that election, it's going to be important that our members hear us. They see who we're endorsing and why, because we're endorsing on the issues that are relevant to us for firefighting and labor.
And maybe we can get some of them on the podcast to explain why they're doing that, and maybe rally some support or some bigger issues.
100%. I think that's a great idea. And then in 2024, we're working on another education seminar. which is important. We have the convention that's going to be in Traverse City. We are probably going to do a little short mini podcast in regards to why it's important to attend that convention. So look forward to that.
You'll probably hear me mention it in every single podcast.
Yeah.
Here's the first time, May 2024.
Yes. So we have to make sure that as an organization, we are continuing to stay true to what our agenda is, and that's to promote our trade as firefighters and promote labor, and making sure that we're always fighting for those wages, hours, working conditions, and staffing, because those are mandatory subjects that we believe in. And then we want to also, obviously, the biggest thing is the well-being of each other. We're a fraternal organization as well. We take care of each other. So whether we're continuing to work on making sure that we have cancer screenings, that is a huge deal. We're in Cancer Awareness Month here in January. What are we doing about it? Are we having the hard conversations about diet and alcohol and drugs, PFAS, and you name it? We have to have those conversations. It's sometimes hard to believe that in 2024, we're still having conversations about Plymevent or diesel exhaust. We still have the guys out there that are saying, nah, I don't feel like hooking it up, or it's not a big deal. It's just one time.
Packed or an overhaul.
Yeah. What are we doing? And how do we have those conversations? How do we navigate them? How do we have that conversation without someone saying, oh man, he's just, oh, God forbid, I can't wear my gear. It's got PFAS. Ha ha ha.
Right.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm not the expert on it. Right? I am not the expert. I just know that the IFF has invested a lot of money. They're telling us about it, and we're disseminating that out. As good stewards of that, we're saying, hey, these are some things we could do that could potentially help save our lives or reduce our chances of getting cancer.
Yeah, maybe extend my retirement.
Yeah, so those are always going to be challenges, and those challenges start at the local level. I mean, being a local executive board member is obviously the hardest job in all of the IFF because it starts there. And then being able to, when you become a local executive board member, continuing to be educated, not resting on, well, it's common sense, or, hey, I just feel like doing this, or, well, I don't really know, so I'm just going to wing it. 99.9% of our locals are not doing any of those things. And I credit that to the years and years and years of the education that the MPFFU has done. They're continuing to educate and saying, hey, this is a way that we can do things that make it better. But we have to make sure we're getting that to the next generation. It is so important, because if we're not explaining to the next generation, hey, it's not just walking into the negotiations table and telling them this is what you want. It's coming in prepared, having the MFAs, telling them this is why NFPA 1710 says you need 4 people on an engine and why it's important to have the people there. It's not just for our safety, it's for your constituent safety. That's what I look forward to keep on passing along in 2024. I look forward to getting 4688 passed, 249. I look forward to seeing cancer screenings being talked about as legislation in Lansing. Those are things we're going to continue to push. And then we obviously have the same issues, if you go to our Constitution and bylaws, that we're going to continue to push on the political front, and that is working against PSO, right? We haven't had to deal with it a lot because times have been good. But as soon as times get bad, immediately we have the communities that say, well, why don't, we can just get rid of the firefighters and the cops can do both jobs. No, not a great idea.
The best time to plan for protection is when you don't need it.
100%. So we're going to continue to make sure we keep our eyes on that. We have to. And obviously building the relationships. Many of our local politicians become state politicians and national politicians. So we're going to continue to make sure that our members are out there talking with their politicians. And they already do for the most part, but maybe we need to talk more on getting it on social media, making them accountable to say, yes, you want to show up to our food drive. You want to show up to our Donuts with Santa. You want to show up and get the photo ops when we get the new fire truck. That's great. I'm going to put you on my social media page. So now that people see that you're with our local, and it's not the fire department social media page, it's the union social media page.
And not only
that is a huge difference.
Right. And what that union social media page is doing is trying to make changes to improve your hours, wages, and working conditions. It's not the individuals trying to show off, but a representation of the human beings that are talking to the politicians saying we need to make change, and here's why. Yeah. And leveraging that on social media is huge. Every time the MPFFU puts something out, a clip or something that you think applies to a politician, tag them in it. send it to them.
100%. And that's,
we do these emails where we copy and paste, send this to your local whoever, and here's the thing to link it up. Here's a video.
Yeah.
Smash them with it.
Every time that we would post it on 4688, I was tagging every rep I could find on Instagram. And just today, I met with Representative Burns on a quick Zoom, Representative Burns out of the Dearborn area, and I reminded her that I was tagging her and things, and she said, oh, yeah, I've shared them, and she did. And she was, one of the people that were very responsive to that.
It works.
And she sees it. She's a supporter. She told me today, I support 4688. We're going to get it done. How can I help? That's a win for us.
And I think a big thing for 2024 is to use that in a way to boost up our supporters. We're not saying to leverage social media and our clips in a negative light. We're saying to use it and to identify those politicians that are fighting for your rights and to give them what they need and the support they need to carry that mission on.
Speaking of that, with politicians and those that are going to help support us, we also have a lot of good fire chiefs out there that can help support us. However, we're not putting any of our trust or our wages or our pensions in the hands of the fire chiefs. We're doing that ourselves. If we're going out to get more manpower, that's the union that's fighting for it. We can't say, the chief doesn't want it, or safety concerns or issues. That's us. And those are the things that I look forward to in 2024. And the last thing that I would like to just talk to a little bit about is in 2023 was a big accomplishment for us is we got $15 million in the state budget for firefighter gear. And that became way more popular than I thought it would be, actually. And it's probably the number one thing that we have heard crossed our e-board multiple times. Like, when is it coming? What is it for? How is it? And so we're putting out FAQs on it. We're talking about it. And quite frankly, some people are not maybe seeing those emails or hearing us. So I just want to direct everybody back to the MPFFU members only page. There's some FAQs on it. Talk to your local executive board.
And that's on Facebook.
And just take a look at those things that we've talked about with the gear, because quite frankly, every day almost we're fielding questions about that. So that's one of the bigger issues that we dealt with in 2023, which is a good problem to have. It was an excellent problem.
Now, is the gear going to be available in 2024?
Yes. The first quarter, we've been told from the Labor and Economic Department that it'll be coming out in the first quarter. That's their goal. So the money will be released, and then how you apply for it, how you get it, still a little...
to be determined.
Yeah, to be determined.
Stay tuned. Check out the Facebook MPFFU members page, and maybe even check your email.
So as we get it, we will absolutely communicate that back. I guess I said that was the last thing I want to talk about, but there is one other issue, and I just wanted to commend the Secretary-Treasurer for this, as he deals with license plates almost on a daily basis as well. So the MPFFU license plate's always out there. Terry does a great job with that, and if you're a union firefighter and you want a plate, they're $10 extra when you go to the Secretary of State. We don't make any money on that. It's just something to show our pride in the organization that we're all part of. And
I think my favorite vehicle is when the guy's got the license plate, the sticker, and then he's got one on the front windshield too, just in case. Just in case. You never know.
It's good.
The guy I'm talking about knows
there's a guy you work with. Oh, okay, I got you.
I don't work with him. He knows who he is.
Oh, but yeah, those are good things. And then, so going forward in 2024, I would just also like to just give a huge thank you to all of our local executive board members. They're all working hard. They put up with a lot of stuff. They may not know this because they may not hear it all the time, but they are valued, and I appreciate every single one of them for stepping up into those positions and doing it. I mean, it's just, can't thank people enough that are giving their time and energy for the greater cause of our union organizations. And
it's the only way we can make this all work is if the locals are efficient and are effective.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
If you can have a hub. If any of the spokes break, the wheel's going to fall apart.
100%.
You know?
So our goals are going to be driven, quite frankly, by our Constitution and bylaws and what we come out in our convention here coming up in May in 2024. There's going to be, I'm sure, more issues. But ultimately, we still have the same goals. We're going to try to get out there and improve the lives of our members, and that is my number one goal every day. When I make the calls, Monday morning executive board meetings with our e-board on Zoom, it's, hey, what's going on across the state? And you can start hearing things that go on, whether it be certain disciplines or trends that you're hearing, and we're tracking those things, and we're trying to make sure that there's communication. And if, you feel like you're not getting that, call the state office. That's what we're here for, too, to say, hey, I was wondering about this and I haven't heard about it. That's what we're here for. Send the email. Send the email to your DVP. Copy me. Send it to me. I'll reply back and copy your DVP, and we can work together. It's just really important. And just know that we are every day working together for you, and we can only do that with your support. And that's what I'm seeing across the state. you guys are all working hard and doing the work. So I really appreciate it.
Great words, Matt. We look forward to a good 2024.
All right. And one last thing. Thank you to the IFF, DVP, Mark Sanders. He supplied a ton of help to our locals in 2023 and right into 2024. And Ed and Frank, they're a great team. So we appreciate them, and we're looking forward to working many more years with them as well.
Absolutely. Thank you for the update.
All right.
Let's have a good year.
All right. Thanks, Jeff.
I'm Mickey Wiewiura, Eastern Trustee, and also Chairman of the Union Education Committee. Retired out of Dearborn Heights in 2020. So our biggest objectives for 23 were to continue the new member orientation and kind of continue the reimagination of those and delivering those in different ways. We were able to do them in person, in locals that requested them if they had enough members. We started a new idea of doing them before the district meetings to see how that would go and see how attendance would vary with those. And then we also tried something new this past year, doing it during the committee meetings in Novi. And we had a large group for that, and that was pretty successful, almost too large. And we're going to probably continue that, but reimagine that also. Another thing that was an issue this last year in 23 was the union education / PEP seminar that we held in Novi in the springtime. And that was a pretty good success. And it was kind of also a different approach of how we dealt with a lot of topics in a short amount of time and trying to whet everyone's appetite on those certain specific items. With the success of the podcast, those have kind of fallen under the umbrella of the Union Education Committee, and we're going to continue with those next year also. So our goals for 24 and what kind of we're shooting for, the biggest one is the convention in the spring. And we will be mandated by the membership at that meeting what direction they would like us to take and what they'd like us to focus on. We do have tentatively scheduled a fall education conference and then continuing the podcast. That's another big one. And then again, continuing the new member orientation. Something that kind of fell to the back burner over the last years and just as life goes on was focusing on the new officer, new president, new secretary, new treasurer, and having a kind of a class, so to speak, for those guys. That's now moved to the front burner, and we're going to refocus on those for 24 also.
Scott Korycki, Dearborn Fire, Local 412. Got 13 plus years in with the MPFFU, and I'm currently on the brand new Recruitment and Retention, where I hold the chairperson there for that committee. Well, some of our goals and objectives when I first met with President Sahr when the committee started was that he wanted to create our MPFFU brand, but also recruit and retain that next generation of firefighters. So right at the end of 2022, going into 2023, we had some billboards going up. We had some electric billboards. They said fired up. They had the QR codes. Are you interested? MPFFU. They were basic, brave, hero, need you. They were in shape of the Michigan license plate. We probably saw them. They were near Somerset, near Lansing. And over the last few months, I don't know if anyone else has noticed it, but I've actually gotten a few calls from people that have noticed that, what's the gentleman's name? Call Sam. Sam Bernstein has very, very similar billboards that say, call Sam. So I believe isn't it Oscar Wilde that says that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. So pay attention next time you're driving around. You'll see Call Sam license plate billboards that look just like the MPFU ones that we did last year. We've also had numerous posters, brochures going out from the Upper Peninsula all the way to the Lower Peninsula and everywhere else northeast, south, and west in the state of Michigan. They've been at libraries, college fairs, career fairs, gyms, coffee shops, CrossFit facilities. When a local is holding a local event or training center, we've had them there. We've also designed stickers. You might have seen the Uncle Sam or the Rosie the Riveter, which have our QR codes, which have the mpfucareers.com. Go right to the website with the QR code. Click on it. You can put those on your Yetis, your laptops. In fact, a few locals, their fire chiefs have allowed them to put them on their rigs. So they've actually been on the windows of their rigs. I feel extremely confident that this has increased ride-alongs at the state level. I've heard from all the way up north to down here, southeastern Michigan, where we've had that random high school student, we've had that random college student walking in, calling. The hard calls that we all probably went through are calling, hey, can you tell me blah, 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 blah. The increase of fire academies, whether it's OCC, always being full now. Schoolcraft College is on a wait list. Macomb is full. All these colleges. So is it working? I would say absolutely, because we're seeing it working, because that's how we can judge it, by increasing enrollment at the collegiate level. There's also a great increase in dual enrollment students. And if you're not aware of dual enrollment, the dual enrollment program is at a local level where high schoolers are getting sponsored and they're getting their Fire 1 and Fire 2 while they're in high school. As a committee, we've attended numerous high school and college fairs throughout 2023. In May, a number of us from the committee went to Co-America Park for the Fight for Air stair climb. In September, at the Ypsilanti Fire Museum, we hosted our first MPFU Family Day. It was a phenomenal success. Great shout out to Dean Doyle and IPSI, the City of Ypsilanti Fire Department. They brought out 2 rigs. Working with the Fire Museum, they have, on an average Saturday, they said anywhere from 50 to 75 people walk through the doors. The people there that were working said they had 400 plus. They may have even said 450 people walk through that door. Now, is 450 firefighters? We don't know, but what if we only got 1, 2, or 3, and they now know about the Michigan Professional Firefighters Union and what the MPFU means? Speaking of shout outs for 2023, I had to get shout out to my committee. They've worked very, very hard. They're committed to the success of this committee and to the MPFU. I'd like to thank Mike in Muskegon, Dean in Ypsi, Pete all the way up in the UP, Matt in St. Clair Shores, Christine and Shelby, Kevin in Ecorse, Gunnar in East Lansing, Adam in Redford, the other Matt in East Point, Scott Harity in Livonia, and Amanda West. Thanks for a successful 2023 and looking forward to bigger successful 2024. In 2024, let's talk about something we hope to get handled in 2024. We are working with a Michigan-based company, you may have heard of it, Carhartt. And what we're hoping to do with Carhartt is they're willing to present a scholarship program to future MPFU members, to future firefighters of this state. We're going to have a new sticker, the MPFU license plate design that I spoke of earlier in the podcast, and we're looking for stickers for that. We're hoping to work with the Detroit Pistons, now that they're on a little bit of a winning streak, next year, where they have a first responder night, where we can at least be out in the hallways during the game, possibly getting out there during courtside. We have a little inside scoop with Turbo. He's on the jump team for the Detroit Pistons, so we're hoping to work with them for the first responders night. Also working with Belfour Board Up Company when they host the Detroit Tigers First Responders Night. Continue working with the Ypsilanti Fire Museum to host an annual MPFU Firefighter Day and create that even larger. We have quite a few high school and colleges already on the calendar for 2024 open houses. Speaking of the open houses, we are looking to create a little bit more of some visual props. Some things that we talked about of carrying the jaws with an egg from one orange cone to the other, playing jaw Jenga, just to grab the attention of the students, possibly having some forcible entry things so they can actually see the tools of our trade. Most importantly, I have to say, and I've said this before, that this is a career driven by the public, by the membership. The residents we are sworn to protect and help. So again, stop and take that picture with that future firefighter, stop at the local ice cream shop, wave, honk that air horn, show them the trucks. That is and always will be the best way to recruit and retain firefighters. Remember this. It's kind of an old one, but it's true. It's very true. It's very humbling to some of us that forget on those sorrowful days. Somebody goes out October 31st and trick-or-treats in turnout gear, which we are honored enough to wear when we go to work.
Good afternoon. My name is Scott Bala. I am the 6th District Vice President of the Michigan Professional Firefighters Union. I'm also the chairman of the Michigan Professional Firefighters Union Political Education Committee, retired member of Roseville Fire Department, retired after 30 years, involved in the union for 27 of my 30 years as trustee, secretary, and president, and then took on the role of 6th District Vice President back in 2022 and was assigned the Political Education Committee chair. I've been doing that since 2022. 2023 year, the Political Education Committee was assigned 2 primary tasks. One was to create a first ever Michigan Professional Firefighters Union legislative issues book, similar to the IFF, but for ours, it's going to be uniquely for Michigan. And then to establish an online website for MPFFU clothing and wearables. We accomplished both those goals in 2023, I'm happy to say. The book was a big success. It came out professional. It did everything we wanted to do, and we're still using it as we meet with legislators today throughout 2023 as we start 2024. So the book is set up to run our political goals and priorities for that 2-year legislative session in Lansing. So we can use this book for 2 years at a time, and then we'll update it every 2 years with our new goal and our new political education message to the legislators. The other big goal was to get an online website up and running. For years, the MPFFU clothing was kind of run out of Terry's trunk. Terry Chesney, our state secretary treasurer, he would have to haul stuff around from meeting to meeting, convention to convention. We wanted to modernize that and give all of you an opportunity to buy your Michigan Professional Firefighter Union goods direct online, have it shipped directly to you or your station. You could do a bulk order for all your members. You can do it individually. And the stuff is not cheap. It's not supposed to be cheap. I just want to be very blunt about that. It does cost a little more than what you're going to get picking up at a local store, but it is all American or union made goods printed through a union made print shop. Those were two things that were non-negotiable. We had to have it union made when possible, American made if we couldn't find it, and printed at a union print shop. And we accomplished both of those goals. We hope you guys are visiting the site, and we're always open to more ideas. If there's suggestions or ideas of things you want to see on there, feel free to share that with me. For 2024, we will continue to work to lobby and educate on your behalf, all of you, the members of the MPFFU. Our goal is to continue to push our political agenda in Lansing on your behalf. And we had two big bills that we're focused on and we're still working on. House Bill 4688, which is the mandatory subject of bargaining for staffing levels. We want to make that a mandatory subject of bargaining under para and allow you to take that to arbitration. That was done through convention action. And so we're here still working for you, honoring that commitment, and it's not over. You've got a lot of information from President Sahr on that, but I want to reiterate here that that bill is not dead. We are still going forward with it. It's on a pause right now because of the mess in Lansing with not having a full House. As you recall, we had two legislators that won their mayoral elections back in November. So the House is not filled with all the legislators. House Bill 4688, we're still pushing it. We're still educating. We're still up there talking. I believe President Sahr has close to 30 meetings scheduled this month alone. And so we will be pushing that as our primary agenda based on the convention action and the priority it's needed. So that's still in the works, and we are hoping for a vote on that on the floor late spring, early summer, once they fill those two vacant seats and we get a full House again. Another key legislative item that we're working on is Senate Bill 249. That's the Michigan-only paramedic license. That is on the Senate side, and that will be late spring because it's going to have to bounce over to the House after the Senate. But that's going to allow, hopefully, the ability to allow affordable, in a more timely fashion, paramedic training. As we all know, we are in a dire shortage of firefighter paramedics. We can get the guys through the firefighter academy in 10 to 12 weeks, and then it's getting them up in speed with being licensed as a paramedic. So we're trying to go back to what we once had, which is a ability for state of Michigan to approve that training and certify Michigan paramedics. So that'll be another big piece of legislation working on in 2024. Again, these things are either driven by convention action by you, the members, with House Bill 4688. Senate Bill 249 was not convention action, but still another important piece of legislation that we want to work on. And we'll continue to work on all the issues affecting you. But those are the two biggest pieces that really need our biggest time and energy on, as we follow a lot of legislation. But those are the two that are most near and dear to our wages, hours, and working conditions and making our jobs better, safer for all of you. All this political action, it takes time, it takes energy, it takes education, but it also takes money. And so we're always constantly, as you know, if you come to the meetings, the district meetings, conventions, we're pushing political action, contributing to the political action fund to PAC at the MPFFU level. So that is never going to be not done. So you're going to keep hearing that. We always like to look for new and creative ways to get everyone to contribute so that we can support those who support us. It's key that moving this legislation through the legislative bodies takes our friends and our allies. We don't care what they put in front of their name, after their name, Republican, Democrat, wherever they're at, independent. If they're supporting firefighter issues, then we're going to support them. If they don't, we won't. Part of supporting them is supporting them at the ballot box, but also helping them with their campaigns. And so we need money to do that. And so that's another issue. We'll just keep looking for creative ways to increase that funding. Like I said, we do have the online store. Don't forget about that. I'm actually wearing one of our brand new MPFFU logo long sleeve polos available at that online store. And look forward to seeing all of you in 2024.
I am Larry Gambotto, chair of the Safety and Health Committee for the MPFFU. I've got over 20 years experience and I work at local 3472 in Rochester Hills. So in 2023, the Safety and Health Committee was tasked with developing a poster with regards to PFAS in the fire service and the Michigan Fire Service. So it happened pretty early on in the year. President Sahr came to us after myself and John Schwal ascending to the chair positions and challenged us to get a poster designed, and then once designed and approved, get it printed. We were able to do that, and we had 500 of them printed, and then they were disseminated throughout all of the locals through the DVPs. Most every station in Michigan should have a PFAS, understanding PFAS in your ear, in the Michigan Fire Service. So that was our big accomplishment for 23, and the thing we were challenged with to do. Knocked it out actually pretty quick in the year, so it was a good thing to get done. Looking into 2024, our goals would be to kind of kick out a monthly one-pager of information of the different events that are going on, health and safety related to Michigan firefighters. January is Firefighter Cancer Awareness Month. Like to get a one-page information out there, things that come from the IFF or other organizations, just spreading some of the information. September for breast cancer, October for breast cancer awareness is another month where we get information that gets out there, and just want to make sure we're educating the members on the different things that are going on about their health and their safety. Along with that, another goal that we look to do is to develop and to present a safety and health symposium, perhaps at one of the state meetings that we have, the quarterly state meetings. We'd like to put together a group to come in and talk to firefighters about their health and safety and what's the latest and greatest in the industry out there right now. So in closing, I'd like to say thank you to everybody who puts these events together, especially then the members of the Health and Safety Committee that are looking out for our members and helping us out and better educating us and understanding how we can better take care of ourselves and live good lives and happy lives and have a good career as professional firefighters.
Hi, my name is Mike Mattern. I'm the chairperson of the Michigan Professional Firefighters Union Behavioral Health Committee. This is a committee that started this year with ourselves, and retention and recruitment were the only two committees that were started from scratch this year, thanks to the membership voting in that these are committees that they wanted. So starting from scratch, commenced our committee with members from across the state who were big into the mental health peer support realm. President Sahr brought together the people who knew mental health, behavioral health under one umbrella so we could get things together for all of our members in the state. One of the first things that we did was we standardized what peer support is. We standardized the training that all of the peer support teams need, so everybody's trained the same, and that helps with interoperability with other teams. We also did team typing, so you knew what type of team that you were getting based on their classifications. Along with that, we wanted to really get a lot more teams up and running, so we helped create a manual that will help peer teams start. It gives them all the information that we have on how to start a team. You'll get how to pick your team, how to run a team, SOPs that you can use to build your own SOPs. It's a one-stop shop. If you want to start a team, it's all the information that you'll need and all the resources that you'll need for that. What we also did was work with Frontline Strong and kind of partner with Frontline Strong to help get all those vetted teams onto the Frontline Strong website and their call list, so members can reach out and find those teams very easily. And along with that, Wayne State helped us with the training of peer support teams, so they can get free CISM training, and also they helped out with peer support training as well this year. Another one of the big projects that we worked on this year, President Sahr came to us and said this was a top priority for the union. And so what we worked on was a major deployment model. After the Oxford shooting, and after the MSU shooting, it would have been the behavioral health response to those types of shootings for the first responders. Prior to this, there wasn't anything. It's been kind of a free-for-all on what happens. And what we really wanted to do was standardize a response, just like there's any other type of response to major incidents, to make sure that our members are covered after those large-scale, very traumatic incidents where we know what teams are coming, we know where they're going to go, and it's really just a very detailed plan on how we're going to respond to those larger incidents. And kind of how we did that was we talked to the peer support teams that responded. We talked to the clinicians who were there. We talked to members who were involved in the actual incident and just said, hey, what worked, what didn't work, and how can we improve it? And we used a lot of their input to really create this major deployment model that we created for the entire state. Right now, where it's at, it's been created. The MPFFU has seen it. They like what they see, and what we're going to be doing is meeting with Michigan Association of Fire Chiefs to help get them on board. So we're all working together on this one project to help make sure all of our members are taken care of in the state in the event that there's a large-scale incident. What we also did in the committee was we tried to help find contract language in all of the contracts in the state to help really firm up mental health for each department when they do their contracts, to try and get solid language within their contracts that will actually make sure that employee assistance programs, peer support, SISM, all of those are in the contract so that those types of services will be going to the members no matter what. Another area that we really wanted to work on were retirees. We found that a lot of the retirees don't have the necessary resources that we have today. They went through a time period where mental health and behavioral health was not something that was talked about. And after talking to a lot of retirees in person, we also sent out a survey to all the retirees in the MPFFU. And what we really found was that they want the services, but they just don't know where to get them, and they wish they had them before now. One of the areas that we're really working on is a retirement class for all the retirees in the state to help prepare them into the transition of retirement. Unfortunately, one of the highest areas of suicide when it comes to firefighters is just after retirement. So what we really want to do is have a class that we can take out there to people who are about to retire to teach them about what's about to occur. What kind of changes are you going to see? How do you navigate those changes? So we can try to help people transition into civilian life a lot easier, and there's not so much of that loss of identity that a lot of times leads to the suicides. One of the biggest things that we're able to get moving forward this year is getting required curriculum in the Firefighter 1 and 2 curriculum for fire academies to help teach pre-service members about mental health. This would be what to look out for, what kind of signs you might see in yourself or others, resiliency training, and also what do you do when you see these things in yourself or coworkers, and what kind of resources are out there. We found that, fire academies really prepare everybody for the job, but they don't necessarily prepare you for what happens with the things that you see, the things that you go through. And that's what we want to do, is we want to give our pre-service members these tools before they get on the job to really prepare them for the things that they may run into. And hopefully that will decrease the stigma around mental health and also decrease our suicide numbers when it comes to members in the MPFFU and across the state. In relation to that, we also have started to work on a 501c3 fund that would be set up within the state, and that would be a bank to help members if they want to go seek treatment. One of the biggest things that we hear and we see from members when we go out and talk to them about, what's stopping you from getting help. And a lot of times it's how much it costs. Depending on what your healthcare is in your department, you may not be covered for mental health, or the copays might be high. So then you go, well, do I put food on the table or do I go get mental health help? And a lot of times the food on the table is going to win out. So what we want to do is really eliminate that barrier of, wow, do I put food on the table or do I go seek treatment? With the help of this nonprofit fund, we could get money and donations that we can use to help members cover those costs so they don't have to have that option. Kind of in connection with that, and this is definitely a long-term goal, is working on a PTSD mental health presumption bill in the state. There is one there sitting there right now, not doing anything, and what we really want to do is start moving that forward. What we did was started working with the Political Action Committee through the MPFFU to see if we can start working on getting some movement on that. It did make it into the issues book that they give out to all the politicians that are issues that are important to us this year. And we've been working with the MPFFU Political Action Committee to see what's our best way forward to start getting that bill moving. Kind of our technology portion that we really headed up this year was getting the information into the hands of our members. And we worked with a company to create a health and wellness app that you can put on your phone that will give you a lot of information about mental health, PTSD, depression, anxiety, substance abuse, those types of things. But what it also gives you are the resources that are available to you: peer support teams, vetted clinicians, any type of one-on-one help that you may need. These are all things that we want to get in this app to get it out and get it into the hands of our members. So we worked on creating this app with the company. We've been running it through some test trials, and before we put it out to everybody, we want to make sure that it's working and exactly how it should be working, because we want all the members to have every tool at their disposal, that if they are in crisis, they have somebody who's in crisis, or you're just struggling, that you're not going to have to go looking for the information. It'll be right there for you. So moving forward, we're going to continue to do some of the things that we talked about. One of the biggest things is we hope moving forward, this was a committee that was created at the last convention, thanks to our membership seeing a need for it. And we hope to continue that moving forward after this next convention. Hopefully the members see the value and see that we're working towards a large goal here. And we'd like to just continue those goals moving forward. Some of the goals we have for 2024, 2025, our biggest one is always just getting more peer support teams up and running in the state. And we do that in conjunction with Frontline Strong. The more teams that we can get out there, I think the better off our membership will be. We have members who are trained to take care of a lot of these mental and behavioral health issues that arise. It just helps to get people to those resources that they need. That will always be our goal moving forward and in the future, is getting those teams up and running. The next goal for 2024, 2025 is to actually get the curriculum into the fire academies. We've had discussions with Michigan Fire Chiefs Association. They're all on board. State Fire Marshal Selmeyer thinks it's a great idea as well. So we need to bring everybody together. We need to develop them, and then they'll be implemented within the fire academies, hopefully in the next year or two. We'll have our 501c3. We're close with that. We've got our bylaws in place, so we're very close with the 501c3. That's a big goal for us moving forward here in the next year or two. Our retiree class is very close to being completed, and 2024 is the year that we want to launch our retiree class. Our app should be out here in 2024 as well. There'll be a rollout for that. The major deployment model, the MPFFU likes what they see there. We have meetings with the Michigan Fire Chiefs Association, and the goal is to have that out as well here mid-2024. And as always, and as long as it takes, we're going to be up there in Lansing and working with the Political Action Committee to really get this PTSD mental health presumption bill where it needs to be, which is signed, and so that our members can be covered and they don't have to worry about, how do I pay for mental health services here in the state? We have a lot of goals accomplished already, but we have a lot of goals moving forward here in the next year or two that are very close to being done as well. So we look forward to keeping this moving forward. We hope the membership likes what we've done so far, and we hope to continue it in the future.
My name is Monty Nye. I'm the 5th District Vice President for the Michigan Professional Firefighters Union. I've just started my 40th year in EMS. I am the chair of the EMS Committee and an active retired member out of Grand Ledge Local 2627. For 2023, the EMS Committee worked hard on wrapping up a comprehensive survey of all the locals within the MPFFU to find out how many open paramedic positions we have. So we're able to accomplish that, get that finished, and it really helped President Sahr and some of the legislation that he was working on. As well, we worked on our own legislation, Senate Bill 249, which is a Michigan option for a state exam for the state of Michigan, an option to National Registry. So you could take one or the other, which we believe would open up more possibilities for programs. Our own fire departments could put on programs without having to be accredited. So we worked hard on Senate Bill 249. It passed the Senate, and it is in the House. It does have bipartisan support, and we're hoping that it'll move forward as soon as the legislature comes back into session. Also in 2023, we have 3 seats on the Michigan Emergency Medical Services Coordination Committee. We have 3 members of our EMS committee that sit on that and meet every other month with all the other stakeholders in EMS in Michigan, as well as the state personnel. We also have members sitting on 10 of the 15 subcommittees that the EMSCC has, and they bring all this information back to our members that sit on the MPFFU's EMS committee every time we meet and update them on any changes that are coming along through the state as it pertains to EMS. 2024, our big thing right now is going to be an EMS Bill of Rights. Several other states, California, Illinois, just put together similar bills that were passed. With the EMS Bill of Rights, our hope is to one, get representation for our members when they're called for their medical control authorities or by the state for something that may have happened on an EMS run. Right now, they aren't afforded any representation. And second of all, it will also eliminate double and triple jeopardy. Many times we have departments taking action, medical control authorities taking action, and the state taking similar or different action for the same event. And with the EMS Bill of Rights, we hope to eliminate a lot of that. That's going to be our big one for 2024. Finally, I just want to thank all the members of the MPFFU EMS Committee for all your hard work and wrapping up, completing our assignments over the last 2 years, and look forward to working with many of you in the future.
So my name is Stacey Breitlow. I work with MDA on their firefighter partnerships team, and I work with departments in Michigan, namely MPFFU. And to recap, last year, we had 34 locals participate in Fill the Boot, and guys raised over $188,000. So that's amazing. Want to give a few shout outs. We had local 1306 Summit Jackson. They were #1 in the state. They raised $26,279, which is 10 grand more than last year. So that's huge. And also first in their district. Local 366 Grand Rapids raised $25,767. They are #1 in District 2. Local 335 Battle Creek raised $17,905. It's exciting because they haven't collected since 2019. So that was a huge win to have them back. Local 1859 Alpena Township was #1 in District 3 with $3,553. Also, they raised the most per member in the state, proving that small locals do have a big impact. Cadillac was the second in the state for most raised per member. Local 1279 in Westland raised $13,500. They were #1 in District 4. And then in District 6, we have local 3045 Bloomfield Township raising just a little over $16,000. So big shout out to those guys. And how does MDA use this money? It was an exciting year. We had summer camp at Camp Cavell in Lexington, Michigan. We did have a firefighter day, and we had a few guys come out, and hoping we'll have more. It's just a day to come at camp and have fun and see what it's all about. On the research front, also exciting, there were 8 new drugs approved by the FDA from MDA-sponsored research. One of those was a groundbreaking gene therapy for Duchenne, which is the most common neuromuscular disease in pediatric patients. So that was a really big deal. And then this last year, also MDA awarded $8.4 million in grant money for 37 new research projects. So a lot of exciting things happen that wouldn't be possible if it weren't for the firefighters collecting for MDA. So we will forever be grateful. Also, just looking ahead to this year, on Tuesday, May 14th, we will be having a MDA boot camp that Monty Nye with MPFFU is helping me put on. It'll be in Lansing at the Lansing Lugnut Stadium. So come learn about Fill the Boot, meet some families, and then stay for a baseball game.
Thank you to all of our guests for taking the time to come on the show to talk about the MPFFU's 2023 accomplishments and an outlook for 2024. Please send your feedback to the MPFFU podcast at gmail.com and share your thoughts about the show or ideas for future episodes. Follow the MPFFU on Instagram at m.p.f.f.u. And lastly, please subscribe to, like, and share all of our content on the Michigan Professional Firefighters Union YouTube channel. Thank you. Have a great day.